Lena Derriecott Bell King was born on January 27, 1923, into a world that would later be defined by her courage and commitment to service as a member of the 688 Central Postal Directory Battalion. She grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where she was raised by her mother and aunt. As a young girl, Lena's education and civic engagement were an important part of her formative years. She attended Germantown High School in Philadelphia, where she actively participated in civic activities, including protests against segregated restaurants as part of Eleanor Roosevelt's National Youth Administration program. These early experiences would become foundational in shaping her sense of justice and her desire to contribute to society in ways that would challenge norms and break boundaries. In 1943, when Lena was 20 years old, she enlisted in the Women's Army Corps of the U.S. Army Air Force. It was a time of great conflict as World War II raged across the globe, and women were increasingly being called to take on roles that were previously reserved for men. By joining the WWII, Lena took on a responsibility that many women of her time had not yet considered, especially women of color. This was an era when opportunities for African American women in the military were scarce, and their contributions were often marginalized or ignored. Nonetheless, Lena's sense of duty and determination pushed her to step forward, and she embarked on the journey of basic training at Fort Des Moines, Iowa. It was here that she was introduced to military discipline, training in military procedures, and the commitment required to serve in the Army during a time of war. Upon completing her training, Lena was assigned to Douglas Army Airfield in Arizona, where she began her service as a nurse. Over time, she was promoted to a fuel officer, further demonstrating her versatility and her ability to adapt to different roles within the military. It was during this time that Lena met and married Hugh T. Bell, another service member. Their shared commitment to service and mutual respect would become an important part of Lena's journey. In 1945, Lena volunteered for overseas duty, seeking to make an even greater impact on the war effort. This decision marked a turning point in her life, as it would lead her to join one of the most unique and significant military units in American history, the 688 Central Postal Directory Battalion. The 688 Central Postal Directory Battalion, often referred to as the 6888, holds a place of historic significance in American military history. It was the only all-black, all-female unit to serve overseas during World War II. The mission of the 6888 was nothing short of monumental. The battalion was tasked with clearing a massive backlog of mail that had accumulated for 2 years, addressed to U.S. soldiers stationed in Europe. The situation was dire. Morale was low among U.S. troops, and the backlog of undelivered mail only worsened the feeling of isolation and discouragement. Soldiers longed for letters from home, and without those personal connections, their spirits were dampened. The 6888's role was to bring those letters, those connections, and those pieces of home to the men fighting on the front lines. The battalion's motto, "No mail, low morale," perfectly encapsulated the importance of their mission. Their work was not just about delivering letters. It was about maintaining the mental and emotional well-being of the U.S. military personnel who were far from home. The conditions under which the women of the 6888 worked were harsh and unforgiving. They were stationed in Birmingham, England, in rat-infested warehouses, and they worked under extremely difficult conditions. They were often forced to work in freezing temperatures and endured frequent air raids as the war raged on around them. But despite these challenges, the women of the 6888 showed incredible resilience and dedication to their mission. They worked in 3 shifts, around the clock, to sort through and clear the backlog of mail. What was initially estimated to take 6 months to complete the battalion managed to accomplish in just 3 months. In that short time, they cleared an astonishing 17 million pieces of mail, providing a vital lifeline to U.S. troops in Europe and proving the strength of their resolve and the importance of their work. However, the women of the 6888 were not just dealing with the physical challenges of their work. They also faced the pervasive challenges of racism and sexism, both within the military and in the broader society. Many of the men they encountered, both in the U.S. and abroad, held prejudiced views toward them, doubting their abilities and questioning their place in the military. While the women of the 6888 faced these hardships with grace and determination, the reality of racism and sexism was ever present. Despite the adversity they faced, the women of the 6888 were treated with respect by the British public, who welcomed them into their homes and treated them as heroes. This contrast highlighted the degree to which American society still struggled with racial prejudice, even in the midst of a world war that required the united efforts of all people, regardless of race or gender. For decades, the contributions of the 6888 remained largely unrecognized. While the battalion's service was undoubtedly important, their story was not widely acknowledged by the American public. It wasn't until over 6 decades later that the women of the 6888 began to receive the recognition they so rightfully deserved. In 2022, the battalion was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, one of the highest honors that can be bestowed upon individuals for their service to the country. Lena Derriecott Bell King, one of the last surviving members of the 6888, was present at the ceremony in Las Vegas, where she was honored for her contributions. This recognition came far too late for many of the women who had served, but it was a step toward ensuring that their legacy would not be forgotten. Lena's life after World War II was one of continued service and personal achievement. After returning to the United States, she pursued further education in design in Leicester, England, before settling in Los Angeles with her husband, Hugh T. Bell. There, they raised 2 children, and Lena continued her work in nursing until her retirement. In her later years, Lena became a prominent advocate for the legacy of the 6888. She participated in conferences, gave interviews, and worked tirelessly to ensure that the history of her battalion was not lost to time. In 2018, she attended the dedication of a monument to the 6888 at Fort Leavenworth, and in 2019, she was awarded the Audie Murphy Award during the American Valor Awards ceremony. Lena's role in preserving the legacy of the 6888 was not just a reflection of her own experiences, but also a tribute to the countless women who had served and sacrificed so much during World War II. Lena passed away on January 18, 2024, just days before her 101st birthday. Her death marked the loss of one of the last remaining members of the 6888, but her life and her service continue to inspire. The story of Lena Derriecott Bell King and the 6888 is one of perseverance, courage, and dedication. It is a reminder of the incredible contributions made by African American women during World War II, and of the importance of ensuring that their stories are told and remembered. If you want to learn more about the incredible story of the 6888, check out our full playlist. Just click the playlist link on this video or in the description below. You can also find more videos on our channel all about their mission and impact. And if you like this video and know someone in the military, please share it with them. Thank you for watching.